few months out, several of us decided we wanted to do a vacation Bible school with the kids there in Piedras Blancas, and so we got a great team together, and we did crafts and songs and games and did a story, and everyone played their part, and everyone came together, and we had such a great time. And I'll never forget that day. Like during lunch, it started storming so bad, and it was bad even considering it was Costa Rica in the rainy season. No one's going to come to this. No one wants to, get out in the rain. And then, sure enough, one by one, they all sort of, started coming up, and it was so wonderful. Like they, had walked a mile or two in the rain, and they would come in, and the kids were so ready to play. And
as we got to see the local children, and the mothers come with them, and it wasn't like here where they just drop their children off and it's the babysitting job. The mothers came and they participated in all of the activities, from making bracelets and necklaces to the games and the singing and all of that. And it was just really inspiring to see the families get involved with their children that were there.
Immediately there was such a connection with us, and not only the kids but the parents too. As the afternoon went on and everyone was kind of loosening up, and we were having so much fun. I think all of us, everyone who was on the VBS team, we sort of all on our own time just kind of stopped and looked around, and the kids were running around. They were crafting and they were throwing beads everywhere, and running around and tagging each other, and it was so much fun.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, There will be days when you want.
I sat and watched all these children, and I know no Spanish, and there was no language barrier really, and I found myself feeling like I was on Christmas morning watching my family open gifts that I had waited for months and months for them to open and see and be excited. And I was supposed to be taking pictures, but I ended up watching everybody do what they were doing, and it was really it was very touching to see how excited everybody was and how it touched my heart.
So until then, I'm gonna try.
There was this one little girl, Naomi. She walked in, and immediately you sort of tell there was sort of some physical impairments there. She was probably almost completely blind, and she's very shy and very standoffish. And Maggie and Allie and myself were leading a pretty mean game of Bota Bota Gonzo, and which is Duck Duck Goose, for those of you who don't speak Spanish as well as I do. And little Naomi, she became the gonzo, but she did not want to get up and run around. She didn't get it. She was confused. It was she was kind of being very withdrawn. And so I scooped her up and I picked her up and we ran around the circle and we came and sat back down. And I was like, we did it, Naomi. And she just gave me the biggest hug, and it was so sweet. You could tell it just made her day. It made my day. I looked at her mom. Her mom was just smiling ear to ear. I will remember that for the rest of my life.
When I found out that Hugo and his team came to Pleasant Grove, which is the town I grew up, and they came last year and did cleanup for the tornado recovery. And, that hit home hard because I, thought I was going there to help them and to save them and to rescue them when they had already rescued us and come to save us. You realize that people are all the same. They all have the same problems. It doesn't matter what language they speak. Everybody's the same.
Teach me some melodious sonnet sung by flaming tongues above.
I think bonding with everyone from our church is really important too, because even though we see these people each Sunday and most of us live around each other, because half the trip was people from my neighborhood, and it's neat to get to know them and bond with them, because I know that I'll never lose those experiences and times and fun and people that I never thought I would talk to, get to know, and now I have people I can come to.
And I hope by thy my good pleasure.
The most defining moment for me was when we came together as one team with South Carolina. It was really two completely separate teams at the beginning, and it was almost even a competition to see who could do the most at any one point in time. And so by the end, we were all one team joint, and I felt a lot of fellowship with South Carolina. So not only were we able to fellowship with the Costa Ricans, but also with the other teams.
The trip was really important to me because I had always believed that we had plenty to do locally, and that we needed to put our resources there. But when this trip came up and I felt very called to go, and I got over there, I was so mesmerized by feeling such a bigger part of God's kingdom. And I don't think the definition of how vast His kingdom is hit me and what a part I play in it until I went on this trip and did that.
The major thing that the trip has taught me is that worship can be in any form. It doesn't have to be everybody singing or everybody praying silently, because in Costa Rica I experienced a whole new type of worship where everybody's praying aloud at the same time, and it's shocking to hear it at first, but when you actually sit there and listen, even if it's not in English, it kind of strikes a chord inside you, and you realize that it's not just a church within your own city or your own nation, it's God's church throughout the entire universe.